I think I took risks, mainly because I still remember I have been very adamant to my managers that I actually wanted to move out of India. It so happened one fine day I felt that I'm not getting the support from my management. And that was the day just before I shut down my laptop, I sent a resignation mail. And without even talking to my seniors, he called me to a meeting room and he actually spoke to me and he said, "Are you nuts?" And this was exactly what he asked me. Are you nuts? What I tend to say is like, really be passionate about what you want to achieve, but probably don't be as arrogant as me, because you never know how your manager would be. Clinical trials are not the only thing, but it's a big thing. Reason is, even companies like TCS, Infosys, HCL are having their own wing of clinical trials domain in the IT sector now.
Okay.
Ask me why? Because we are not hit by recession. Always the easiest way to move is see if your company that you're working has a overseas or an on-site opportunity, right? Or if they have a branch outside.
Hello guys, welcome to another interesting episode of Inside the Job with Shreyas. Day. Today we have Vijayendra Shenoy with us. So he is a biotech engineer and has over a decade of experience in the clinical trials industry. So in this episode, Vijay is going to talk about the various opportunities that are available to a biotech engineer and also gives us few insights into the clinical trials industry and much more. Enjoy the show. Welcome to the show, Vijay.
Thank you so much, Shreyas. I'm looking forward for this chat.
Thank you so much for coming to our show. And let me just start with the first question. So, can you just explain to our viewers what exactly you do?
Yes, I think with the COVID just going the backstage, it's pretty easy for me to explain what I do. So I do clinical trials globally.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I handle or I run clinical trials globally. And that's my job. I'm basically a project manager who is supposed to coordinate for a successful conduct of a trial.
Okay, so when it comes to clinical trials, I think there are many various fields in that. It may have environment, it may have soil, it may have testing of, you know, uh,
Yes.
blood
Yes.
samples. Like what specific? Is there any specifics of what you do? Any specific
Yes.
field?
Yeah. So whenever it comes to clinical trials, we have two different things to look at. So it could be a wet lab job that I can be doing, but and the other side, what I call it as a dry lab. And the reason why I call it as a wet lab and a dry lab job is, for a clinical trial, you need a drug to test, right? So the preparation of drug and first doing a research of what the drug needs to be, and manufacturing it, and then maintaining it at correct temperatures. So these things are looked into from the wet lab perspective. Okay, so it's basically a laboratory work. And the reason why I call it as a dry lab, which I am into, is here, it's more of like, you bring out a product out, right? So you bring say for example, a biscuit is launched in the market, right? So all that part is done from the industry's end, but then you have the next set of people to market it, take it to the shops and stuff like that. So I am basically that person who does the clinical trial by reaching out to different countries. And in countries, we have our own set of people, or the team, what we call as, who will reach out to the doctors and or the clinics or the hospitals to ask them if they are ready to be a part of a clinical trial and conduct this clinical trial at that particular hospital or a country, right? So I look into this management aspect of it, where I precisely have to run the show of building a trial from the scratch, for which there is already a drug which needs to be tested. So, and then ensure that the collected data is ready for submissions to health authorities. So starting from the bringing the trial out to the hospitals or reaching out to the subjects, recruitment, and all these things become a part of my job. And I'm completely responsible for this aspect of it.
Okay, okay. So
Yeah.
once a drug is introduced, and then conducting clinical trial is a job, like uh,
Yeah.
uh, getting the clinical trial done from scratch, everything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
when I say scratch, it's the scratch part. Working on this researching is dry lab, and I am not really involved in it. But once we know that there is a drug which can potentially treat probably, like say, a headache or a fever, of course. But I am not into that segment. I work for a company which is into diabetes and stuff. So that's the domain that I work into. Yeah. So after the drug is ready to be tested on healthy or subjects who are living with that particular condition, that is where I completely come into picture.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So for this profession, does it have to be a biotech engineer or anyone else from other professions?
uh, Preferably, what I would say is like, as I say, like, you go to any company, there are different departments, right? So likewise, even I belong to a pharmaceutical company, and for certain roles you need to have people who are from the medical background. But uh, saying that, in certain cases there are some people, like if you're a project manager, right, you don't really have to be a medically qualified person, and you can probably know a little bit of that, and then once you get into a role, you really do the job, right? So, but it is always going to have an edge to be a project manager who is a biotechnologist or probably a life science graduate. So, when I say life science graduate, it could be a BSc in biotechnology or BSc in biology or MSc and then microbiology. So anything related to this field or chemistry, a little bit of chemistry is a good match for this field as such, because you can connect to what you are doing. Yeah.
So, Vijay, you have graduated from India and you have even worked in Bangalore, and now you're in
Yeah.
Denmark. So, can you explain to our viewers how your journey has been for so many years?
Yeah. So precisely why I took biotechnology is because I was, I always wanted to have this engineer tag in my name. Okay. And I, unfortunately, it so happened my second PU scores were not good. And especially in maths, I was like bottom. And that was the first time I scored lowest in mathematics. And that really demotivated me. And then I thought, okay, this is something probably showing me a sign. And then I completely got out of this computer science. I was not good programmer as such. So the only thing that I wanted to go is something related to biology. And that's how I landed choosing biotechnology. And post that, it was I got a job in Infosys. You know what happens in an engineering college? It's they just come, these IT service companies, they come in bulk and they gulp you around and they teach you what they want you to do, and then you end up doing it. But I was pretty sure that I did not want to land up in a programming or a software job, because that is not where my heart belongs to. And precisely, I love getting with people and doing stuff together and leading stuff. So that's where my energies were. So I was like, though I had a offer when I came out of the college, just to be on a secure side, because I did have education loan. Okay.
Right.
Uh, so that was a stress, and it was a management quota education loan. So it was close to like, by the time I graduated, it was 8 lakhs that I had to pay.
Right.
So that in itself was a big burden on me. But
Right.
lucky, soon I came out. I thought I'm not getting a job. I went to Mumbai. For 3-4 months, I searched for a job, and all the jobs that I was getting was just paying 14,000, 13,000. And I had this in my mind that I'm an engineer. I should get a basic pay of like 20, 25, because
Correct.
that was my package provided by a software company.
Yeah.
So, but none of them gave me. So I started preparing for MBA. And then there was a small company who sponsored me, saying that they are into campus placements. So they teach me aptitude and these kind of skill sets which are required for MBA preparation. And in turn, I
Mhm.
go to colleges and train students for what they have taught me. So in a
Oh,
way, I'm also honing my skills to prepare for CAT and MBA entrance exams.
mhm.
9 months down, all of a sudden, a senior whom I actually took inspiration from got a job in Novo Nordisk, and the company that I work for.
Okay.
And he had come back from Dublin after his masters, and he joined this company in Bangalore. And I had been applying for this company, and I still have the screenshot of my application. Okay, so a year after, I get a call for interview, right?
Oh,
Not probably because I had applied a year back, probably because I had a backing of this guy a friend of mine who
yeah.
had come back and didn't know one on this, right? So he referred me, and when he referred me, I went for the interview, and things really clicked in. But look at the fate. I was hired into this company as a programmer,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
So that's where But then I had it was a good decision that I accepted this offer, and the reason why I say so is today technology is everywhere, right? People think that okay, this guy is going to a pharmaceutical company and all that he works is under the microscope or in the lab. No, because we equally, I completely use laptops for my work from morning till evening.
Right.
So there is no other thing that I use other than my laptop and my mouth. So that was the whole thing. Okay, uh, and I accepted this position as a programmer, and it was something that I discussed with my senior who referred me there, a friend of mine, saying, and he told me, look, this company is very open to things. So probably 2 years down, you have done what you have been doing, and they teach you what you need to do, right? So you have learned it, and if you don't really like it, you actually move to a different position that you want to go for, where you think you can contribute.
Right. Right.
uh, that I actually went in, uh, and then likewise I had really good managers, and I spoke to them of what I want, and they also saw that traits in me where I was really vocal about working with people, bringing in solutions, and very good in talking, convincing people. These
Right.
were my skills. So and rightly, I was by then good and well aware of what the company expects of a candidate whom they want in to be a particular role. So then I got into being a data manager. Rather than that, I think I was a project manager before that, but building a process as such. Okay.
Mm.
And then after that, that building a process as such brought me closer to HQ.
Okay.
And by then, I had spent 4.5, 5 years in India, in Bangalore, and it had brought me closer to people who were working here because the
In
process
the
that I was
process,
building, yeah, a
building a
process
process.
that I was building in was completely for the people who were working here
Mhm.
and not for the ones who were working there. So in a way, I got closer to people here, and rightly, I got a good backing from my managers and also the managers here. And then they asked me if I would like to move, and rightly, I applied to it. So I got a internal job posting. So I moved from India to here, and it's been another 6 years now spending in Denmark.
Oh,
And after coming here, as you know, as I said, now I actually love talking, working with teams more. So I drifted away from being a data manager, a project manager who's a data manager, and I got into a core project managerial role now.
Okay.
where I completely chair a trial, basically. So what I do now is I work with all the teams. My responsibility has such is to bring the whole team together to run a trial, and that gives me a lot of energy. And every day is a new day here, because all of a sudden a drug doesn't reach the hospital, and then you have to troubleshoot it. You have to work across, departments, across countries, and that's fun. You never know what tomorrow is going to be. So
Right.
yeah.
Yeah. So
So this
what
is
kind of challenges you face on a daily basis when it comes to this job?
yeah. As I said, it's running a trial is very much like running behind something that is built from scratch. And why I say this is, as I said, I in my project we handle close to 35 countries, 35 plus countries. Okay, so you have to first of all be available, and if not be available, you have to plan your day to match different time zones, all the way starting from Japan in one end to US on the other end. So when we start the day, we try to troubleshoot based on all these things. So sometimes, say for example, we are running a clinical trial, the drug has not reached them, or probably a device that supports our trial has not reached them, or all of a sudden there is a technology big breakdown, and the subjects or the patients who are taking our drugs are at the site. Okay, and there is no way that they can be included in the trial because there is a technology breakdown.
Right.
Or if there is a subject who has taken our drug, and then all of a sudden it did not go well with his body, so it's a adverse reaction, and you are bound to report this to safety authorities in 24 hours time. So there
Right.
is a time by which you have to act, and it's so much important that you completely work by SOPs. And it's sometimes a little bit stressful, but in the end of the day, you feel making a difference in someone's life when the product comes out to the market. So yeah, it's a beautiful world, and a world in itself.
Vijay, what do you think that made you to grow so much in this kind of time from India to Denmark and in your position?
I took risks. I think I took risks, mainly because I still remember I have been very adamant to my managers that I actually wanted to move out of India after being 5 years, because I come from a very middle class family, or a little bit of a lower middle class family, I would say. So you have aspirations in life where you need to probably you are measured by a house that you built, and the way the kind of life that you give to your parents, or you are probably also judged by the way you get your sister married off, right? Or how you conduct your own marriage. And these are the things, of course. And at that point in time, these were the things that drove me. And I was pretty adamant to my immediate seniors, saying that this is the time I move out. And it so happened one fine day I felt that I'm not getting the support from my management, and that was the day. Just before I shut down my laptop, I sent a resignation mail, and without even talking to my seniors. And trust me, if it was just another manager, they would have just accepted it. And it was really good on my part. It was not a good etiquette that I really did, but that was the level of frustration that I had reached, that it seemed like nothing was working. Uh, and I really wanted to move. But this manager of mine, he actually, forwarded the same resignation mail of mine into a meeting invite for the very next day, early morning. The time I reach office, he was also in the office. And uh, he called me to a meeting room, and he actually spoke to me, and he said, "Are you nuts?" And this was exactly what he asked me. "Are you nuts? Did you get a job offer?" that you have put this resignation mail. Tell me and I accept it now. But please don't put a resignation until you have an offer in your hand.
Right.
So, and then I told him, no, I don't have any offer. Then what made you drop this? I said, I think I'm frustrated and I think I have been trying enough and my luck is not favoring me to take an internal movement in the same company. So I think I will move out of this company and search things on my own. So, but my manager said me, trust me, things sometimes take a little more time than what you imagine. So I suggest you get a job and still put this resignation. I accept it. And this is in your benefit that I'm talking. Else, give me another 6 to 7 months and let me see if this can really work out for you. So this was the level of support that I got from my management, and they were really probably they were sure by then that I am really wanting something and I will do it if I am given a chance.
Right.
So what I tend to say is like really be passionate about what you want to achieve, but probably don't be as arrogant as me, because you never know how your manager would be.
Right.
Because I can give you an example with the same intention. I told one of my friend, he was like, buddy, I'm not getting projects to work on. He works in an IT company and we were roommates. So what I told him is like, if you're not getting a project and if you intend to choose, and if it should inspire you to choose, what you do is go and drop a resignation mail. Then you know that you have only 3 months to serve notice period, and by then you have to actually land a job. And you know, he literally did what I said, but you will not believe me what happened the very next moment. The
Okay.
time he dropped his resignation mail, his HR replied that we are going to relieve you tomorrow.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So what I said is like, and I'm not cooking up stories.
Hmm.
And this really happened with him, and he had to be without job for 3.5 months.
Yeah.
So you never know what kind of management support you get when you do these kind of haircuts.
Right. Right.
So sometimes it's nice also to gauge on what kind of relationship you hold with your management
Management.
and pay accordingly. Yeah.
That's a very rare behavior, like a manager being so considerate to his
Yes.
juniors. It's very rare.
Yes.
Even I've worked
Yeah.
in Bangalore, I know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
um, you were working in India and now you're in Denmark. So, what is the difference in when it comes to work culture and yeah, what are the difference you find in India and Denmark?
Uh, mm, yeah. So personally, the only thing that also made me move out of Bangalore was the traffic was really getting insane there. Okay. Uh, and it was taking a lot of time from my personal life. But again, I was lucky enough to make a bargain with my manager that I come into office a little early and then I move out of office a little early so that I reach home by the time that I want to be. So precisely, in short, my working hours, even in Bangalore and here, is 8 to 5. So if I go at 8:30, I come by 4:30. So I basically try to keep it at an 8 hours average. Okay, and that is what is expected. Eight and a half hours is something what my company expects out of me, and it's not this case everywhere. So personally, work wise, it has not made a lot of difference for me.
Oh,
But uh, being in Bangalore, what I felt is like I never got a personal time for myself because I used to stay with my friends. So once I was home, I had my friends out there. So it was impromptu plans. And if I say probably say them, I don't want to, then they say, "Ena nataka ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೀಯಾ?" Okay. So they then try to drag me into their plan. So you are never alone. And probably even if you want to do something, you always have a distraction there.
right.
Right. Coming to Denmark changed a lot of things in me personally. I started investing time on me. Uh, uh, and I became more aware of where I come from, where I want to go, and where I belong to. And when I say this, it's on multiple aspect that I'm talking about. Be that spiritually, be that also in terms of giving some personal space for me. And now when I go back to India, sometimes my friends tell me, ನೀನ್ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಟೈಮ್ ತಗೊಳ್ತೀಯ ನಮ್ ಜೊತೆ ಬರಕ್ಕೆ ಈ ಇಂಗ್ಲೆಂಡ್ಗೆ ಬರ ಮಸ್ತ್ ಟೈಮ್ ದೇತನ್ವಾ. So they tell me these things, and he change aata. So this is the first thing they throw it on my face, and then I tell them I have been there for 6 years. Okay,
Right.
I come here for 1.5 2 months, and that's when I meet everyone. And when I am off from here, there is not even a person who asks me what I am doing on a day-to-day basis. So, and you want me to come here and act normal, you know? So
Right.
personally, I got a lot of personal space, personal time. I started reading. It's in India. What's happening these days? Politically, because and the reason why I bring this in conversation is I'm very much a politically aware person.
Okay.
So at that point in time, we used to hear people talking about Hindu and these kind of stuff. I don't want to go into the other aspect of it, but then what it led me to is, why should I really listen to what others have to say? So I started reading Bhagavad Gita. I started reading Bhagavatam. So I started understanding it from, the literal perspectives of it rather than just sharing a post on social media.
Right. Right.
So that's why I said I started becoming more aware of where I come from, where I belong to. And other main thing is like I had a lot of anger issues. Today, if you talk to me, even if I am, burning from within, I know how to put it, where to put it, and I don't get angry very easily. Yeah. So this is something that change that I see from my end, living in India and living in Denmark. And now also I want to just put a disclaimer. When I go to India, I'm the same person now. So now I know to stop and where not to.
Right. Right. Maybe mainly because in Denmark you stay alone, and in India you have a lot of company, a lot of people to meet.
Yeah. So for the first 3 years or so, I was alone, and then I got married.
Oh.
So yeah. So I have my wife here now. We both are from Bangalore. So until that 3 years, I was also not invited for parties outside because I don't drink.
Okay.
So initially, he used to call me to the party saying that, "Aja yaar, kuch nahi hoga. Juice sab pee sakte ho." But I don't even drink carbonated water. No soda, no, you know. So and I used to just drink water. But I can tell you, I can go high with water as well. I can give that same level of energy what they bring.
Right.
But then this used to, but I used to eat more than everyone. So and gradually I actually drifted uh, because I wanted to sleep better. So I used to then avoid saying that no, I'm good here. And I also used to stay alone. I never used to share a house, though it comes at a lot bigger expense. So I chose that it's in my best interest.
So for someone, for a student, okay,
Yeah.
who wants to get into biotech engineering,
Yeah.
so what are the career options available for him, and what would you suggest? What are the things he should do so that he can, he's set for a brighter future?
Uh, 10 years back, we did not have a lot of resources of how we need to navigate in this industry. But today, we are so prominent that everyone knows of clinical trial, right? Everyone knows what is a clinical trial. And a biotechnologist or a student from bio or a chemical background knows a little more than what it is, because he or she tries to connect to the seniors and that sort of. But options wise, clinical trials are not the only thing, but it's a big thing. Reason is, even companies like TCS, Infosys, HCL are having their own wing of clinical trials domain in the IT sector now.
Okay.
Ask me why? Because we are not hit by recession.
We are not hit.
Okay. We are not hit by recession.
Okay.
When the recession hits, the medical industry is always more in demand.
Right.
Right. So they have started putting their hands into that segment, which means we have a lot of opportunities. Now, if you ask me how, wet labs is completely one part. You work in lab research, you can be a lecturer, a teacher, or whatever that is. But then on this whole corporate world, you have something like being a data manager. You can go into the regulatory aspect of it. You can handle the trial labs for the results coming out of the lab. So, and then you can be a data manager, and then you can be something called a validation expert. You can be a programmer. Even there is also, because whatever data you collect, it needs to be validated, right? And technically, how do you validate it? Using programs, right? So there are equal number of software engineers who come into this segment and are happily living. And the best part, you get a very good work-life balance.
Compared to
Because
software engineers.
yeah, because if you know you're running a clinical trial, you know when it starts, when it ends. It's a
Right.
very time bound, right?
Right.
And of course, you have own set of challenges that you come across when you handle a clinical trial. But then you don't have to slog probably writing programs and making it work for you. But again, I say there are equal challenges that comes, and you have to troubleshoot that part of it in this industry. But what I'm trying to say is, like, you don't really have to slog a lot.
Right.
So that's something this industry brings you into, and I enjoy it, and which is why I go every year to my alma mater now, and I talk about the career opportunities in this area. And I'm also having a talk in this month now.
Oh,
Every year when it's time for the graduates to come out of, I try to talk to my juniors and set a kind of a direction to them. And I do this almost every.
So,
Yeah.
what are the opportunities abroad other than India, like Denmark or any other country? How is it like?
Always the easiest way to move is see if your company that you're working has a overseas or an on-site opportunity,
Oh,
right? Or or if they have a branch outside. And in my case, I have moved to headquarters from the branch office. And
okay.
it's not like a contract basis. You can also move on a contractual basis. But for me, I'm on a payroll here.
Mm,
So I belong to this country now. Like, I have a resident permit here. Uh, but otherwise, if you are aspiring to apply from outside, it's all about contacts that you have, the experience that you bring. You can't expect to be a fresher in the industry and say that, okay, I want to get a job in US. No,
right.
right? So it's a process, and it's a work in itself that you really put a lot of efforts, and then drive yourself to where you want to go.
Right.
Like, I have a friend who worked for some time in India, and she did not do her masters. Uh, so after her like 3 to 4 years in an industry, she gained that experience. She took a job seeking visa in Germany. So these are the options that you have. So take a job seeking visa and come down and search for the job. and you get somewhere around 6 to 9 months to seek job.
Oh.
And you will find, because there are when you are already in that country, they don't have to spend on you for mobility, like movement from one place to other. So they just give you a job and you're done,
Correct,
right?
right.
So this is the way to approach jobs when you want to do it.
Okay, Vijay, thank you so much for coming to the show and giving our viewers so much insights in biotech engineering. Um, yeah, so thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much, Shreyas. And it was nice talking to you as well. And I really hope there is a lot of people that come on the show and talk about their own respective fields and people benefit from it.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, please. Thank you.